go to graphing linear relations, and linear relations we're going to see them all the time. Like it's not, we focus on linear relations in grade 9 and 10, but then we still see them a lot in grade 11 and 12. A linear relation, that means it's, how would the graph of a linear relation look like? It's a straight line. It's a straight line. That's what a linear relation is. Okay, so it's any straight line. Okay, the equation of a straight line, you can have it written in two ways. You can have the standard form, so it would look like this. So it's ay plus bx plus c equals to 0. Or you can have it in the slope y-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. Okay, so a linear relation, I'm going to start with writing it in the format of standard form. Plus bx plus, ay plus c equals 0, and is represented by a straight line. Okay. The other form is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope of the line. Slope means, sorry? It's okay. So what does a slope mean? When you're looking at a line, you're looking at a slope, what does it mean?
It's the equation of the line.
It's part of the equation of the line, and it's the incline of the line. Okay, so it's how steep is the line. Okay, so the slope, which is m, the letter m, it's called the slope, and it represents the steepness of the line. Okay, think about stairs, think about roads that are like, you have a hill. How steep is the line? How steep is that mountain, is that hill? So this represents the slope, and then B is the y-intercept. So where does that line intersect the y-axis? Okay? So these are the two important information that you need in order to write the equation of a line in slope y-intercept form. We can always go between the two forms, so we can always, when we have numbers, obviously, we can always interchange between these two formats, and you can do that by moving things around. Okay, so for example, if I have let's say 3y plus 5x minus 9 equals 0, right? This is similar to ay plus bx plus c equals 0, right?
Yeah.
You guys see that? It's exactly the same format,
Yeah.
right? If I want to put it in this format, in the y equals mx plus b format, what do I have to do?
Find out the value.
So in order to do that, I just want y on one side, right? You see that? Y is by itself. Everything else is on the other side. Do you guys agree with me? Okay, so leave y on this side, move everything else to the other side. So that's 3y equals negative 5x plus 9.
So is it a standard way to always say that the y, if it says y in any equation on the left side, the equal sign, you just move everything else but the y? Say there's another
Yeah,
y.
if you want to interchange between your standard form and the slope y-intercept form. Yeah, so you want it to look like this. You want y by itself and everything else on the other side.
No equals 0?
No, because the 0, when I move these things, right, 9 plus 0 is 9, right? So the 0 is gone. I don't want it to equal 0. Now, is y by itself?
No.
No, I still have 3y. How can I get rid of that 3?
9 both sides by 3.
Divide both sides by 3 or move that 3 over and it becomes a division, right? So, if I divide by 3, that would get rid of this, so that's y equals to negative 5 over 3x plus 3. Do you agree with these steps?
Can you show the other way of doing it?
The other way, like what? What do you mean by the other way?
Well, you said moving instead of dividing.
Yeah,
then you
so
move
instead of doing, basically it's the same thing, but we do this. Okay, let me rewrite it here. You're gonna see exactly the same thing, but we're gonna write a new step. We're gonna have to move this over, so it becomes y equals to negative 5 over 3x plus 9 over 3. So it's the same thing, except in this case I wrote the 3 under all of it, and then I simplified.
Miss, are you dividing by 3 because that's the y-intercept?
No, I'm dividing by 3 because I have a multiplication by 3 here, right? 3y means 3 times y. Are we okay with that? Now, if I want to move the 3 over, right? If I want to get rid of that 3, I want to move it over. What's the opposite of multiplication? Division, right? So when I move it over as a division.
So then is that your rise over run?
So now my rise over run is this, yeah. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay? So, are we okay with this? So this is called isolation. So I'm isolating, right, my y, so I can have the format which is slope y-intercept format. Now, if you look at this, y equals negative 5 over 3x plus 3. I'm going to write the equation under it. Y equals mx plus b. Let's see if we have a match. Y and y are the same. You guys agree with that? Equal, right? Then negative 5 over 3 and n. So what does that tell you? These two, right, are with the x. What does that tell you? N is equal to what? What's n equal to?
That's your slope.
That's your slope. Negative 5 over 3. So your slope is negative 5 over 3. Right? And then you see this? Right? That means your y-intercept is, what's your y-intercept? 3. Do you guys understand that? Do you see the connection between the two? So instead of mx, I have negative 5 over 3x. Right? So that means m is negative 5 over 3. Do we all agree?
Yes.
Good. So that means my slope. I already told you that. M means the slope. M is the slope. So that means my slope is 5 over 3. Now, it says mx plus b. In this case, I have negative 5 over 3x plus 3. That means my b is
y-intercept.
3, which is the y-intercept. So, if you look right here, I went from standard form to, this is the y, slope y-intercept form. And all what I did is I rearranged my formula. Okay? Move things around So I can isolate for y, so I can find what my formula is or what my equation is.
So one of those is a slope form and one is in a y-intercept form, or is it a slope y-intercept form? Because
It is a slope y-intercept form because it gives you two information, right? This form, the first form, is called the standard.
Are the two different ways to doing it, are they named differently?
No, it's only one way that you can do it, isolation, right? And they're named differently because they give you different information. This one gives you the slope and y-intercept. This one basically doesn't give you anything.
Like, why do you divide 3 2 times, like this side of the equation, this side of the equation is 1 time?
Why did you, here you mean why did I do it
Exactly.
twice?
So like you divided, it's 3y divided by 3.
Mhm.
You put 3 this side of the equal sign, so you
Mhm.
have to put 1 3 this side of the equal sign. So you put 2. Like, how
I put
works-
2 here, is that what your question is?
Yeah.
Why did I put 2 here? Okay, you guys tell me this. Negative 5x plus 9. How are you gonna simplify this? Can you simplify this easily?
Yes, 9 over
Like
3.
it's 1 and 3.
So what would that be?
3 divided by
1
3.
over 3. Sorry, 3 over 1.
Okay,
Minus 5x
Minus 5x,
plus 3
uh-huh,
over 1.
done, like this?
No, like
No.
you need to put the word there.
So like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that 3 divides the negative 5 over x as well.
Right.
So that's the way like to simplify that, right?
So basically, oops, this is not right. Basically, I have to have this. So this and this are the same, right? Because in order for me to be able to add these two, they have to have a common denominator, and when I have a common denominator, I can put it under the same one, right? Think about it this way. Forget about the x, okay? Let's say you have negative 5 plus 9 all over 3, right? Or over 3 each. Add them for me. What would it be? Negative 5 plus 9 over 3,
Yeah.
right? These are the same thing, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. This is the negative 5x plus 9 all over 3 is equivalent to negative 5x over 3 plus 9 over 3. I just showed it to you right here with numbers, right?
Yes.
And the reason why I put it separately is because you see what you guys just did? You see how you just simplified this to negative 5x plus 3? And you guys just do that? And this is what's going to happen. This is the mistake that I'm going to see if we don't separate. Okay? That's why I separate right away. I write it this way. Because then you guys will realize that both terms are divided by 3. Not only the 9. Make sense?
5x as well.
5x as well.
Is what you do to one, you have to do
Yes, because they're added. Make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm gonna erase this whole bunch. Are we okay with this? So standard form is written all on one side with an equal 0, and then the y-intercept slope y-intercept form. You have the y by itself, and then everything else on the other side. Something that I have to grab your attention to is that a linear function would have a degree of 1. Okay? So if you're looking at the x, do you have any exponent on the x? No, it's an exponent 1. Okay? If there's no exponent, it's actually 1. Okay? So to define a linear function, okay, x has to have a degree of 1. Now, let's go back to the list.
Can you just write down?
Yeah.
Sorry.
How
Make which one
Make
small?
everything fit on there. You could just probably make it smaller so.
But you guys can see then if I do that. And obviously y is always degree. Otherwise you have a circle. Which we're not gonna get into. Do you guys like this? Are we good? All right. So there's different ways that you can graph a linear function. Okay? One way is you find the x and the y intercept. So if I'm looking at a linear function, let's look at this right here. Okay, so that's a linear function, right? You see, look at the block line right here. This is the point where you have the y-intercept, right? The vertical line is your y-axis, this is your y-intercept, and this is right here is your x-intercept because it's intersecting the x-axis. You guys okay with that? Can you see that, or should I just draw it right there? You guys see it, everyone? The back? Can you guys see it? Okay. Now, in order to graph a line, I need 2 points. That's it. 2 points, locate them, put a line between them. You got them. So if I can find the x-intercept and the y-intercept, right, I can draw it. So let's write that down. So the x and y-intercept of a linear relation are where the line crosses the x-axis and the y-axis respectively. Now, to find the x-intercept, I want you, so to find the x-intercept, that means I need to find this point, right?
Yes.
All right. Now, if this point right here was what?
1.
Okay? If this point right here was on the 1. Can you give me the coordinate of this point? So can you give me the x and the y values? What would it be? What would this point be?
0, wouldn't it?
Which one would be 0? So how would I write that? So x first, y second. How would I write that? What's the x value?
1.
1. What's the y value? You
Zero,
set it
zero.
Okay, so if you're looking at the x-intercept, the x value is whatever the value is. In this case, it's 1, and the y value is 0, right? If I look at another x-intercept, so in the case of this line right here, the x value is 3, and the y value is,
Minus 2.
no, the y value is,
Zero.
at this point, is 0, right? No matter where that line crosses the x-axis, right? It's going to be a point where x value is whatever the x value is, and the y value is going to be
Zero.
0, right? That's why it's called an x-intercept, because the y value is 0. So if you want to find the x-intercept, you set y equals to,
1
Zero.
yes. So anytime you want to find the x-intercept, you set y equal to 0 and solve for x, giving coordinate point x 0.
X 1 0.
X 0.
It's like always you have to put 1, 0.
It's not always 1, right?
No.
As I just said here, this could be 2 right here, right? If this is 2, then it's going to be 2 0, right?
Yeah, I'm asking about the y, like, it's, like you have to put y 0.
Always.
Yes, if you're looking for the x-intercept, y is 0.
And when you're looking for y intercept,
We're
x
gonna-
0.
Well, that's what we're going.
That's what we're going to next. Okay? Now, to find the y-intercept, so I'm looking at this point right here. Right here, okay? Let's say this is -1. What would be that point right here? Can you guys give me that coordinate of it?
Minus
0,
1.
minus 1.
Which one goes first?
0, then
0, then -1. Because this is on the y-axis, right?
Yes.
So x is 0, y is -1. Yeah?
Yes.
So the y-intercept, which one is 0 going to be? Which one's going to be 0? X or y?
X.
X. So to find the y-intercept, you set x equal to 0 and solve for y, giving coordinate 0, y. And as a hint, if you look right here, no matter what it is, to find the y-intercept, plug 0 for x, right? This is a hint. It's going to be on the wall, so always look for it, okay? So to draw the linear relations, you're going to plot the x and y intercept and draw a straight line between the 2 points. Okay, so let's look at an example. So you have the example, 2x plus y minus 6 equals 0. The question is asking you to graph by determining the intercepts. So that means I have to find the x-intercept. And to find the x-intercept, what do I do? To find the x-intercept, what do I do?
Put y 0.
Put 0 for y. Okay? So I'm going to have to plug in 0 for y. So 2x plus 0 minus 6 equal to 0. Are we okay with this?
Yes.
Everyone. So all what I did is I removed the y and I put a 0 instead of it. I want to simplify. 2x minus 6 equals 0. How do I isolate for x?
2x is equal to plus 6.
2x equals 6 because I have to bring the negative 6 over. Right? Negative 6 becomes a positive 6. Then what do I do after that?
Like both sides by 2.
Divide by 2 because I have 2 times x. Bringing the 2 over, it becomes a division. Yes.
Why'd you bring the minus 6 over?
Because I want to isolate for x. Remember, I'm trying to find the point. I'm trying to find the point that's I'm gonna have to draw, right? A point has an x value and a y value. I know that the y value is 0 because I'm looking for the x intercept. Are we okay with this one? Yeah? So I plugged in 0 for y. Now I have to know what the x is. In order for me to know what the x is, I have to isolate. Or you can do guess and check. But guess and check in this case might be easy, but in cases where the numbers are weird and they're decimals, it is not easy. So you have to learn how to isolate for the value, for the variable. Okay? To isolate, in this case, I have to get rid of everything around the x. I want to leave x by itself.
How did you determine y is 0?
Because I'm looking for the x-intercept. And remember we said earlier, to find the x-intercept, set y equal to 0. Right? Because if I'm looking at the x-intercept, the y value is 0. No matter where the x-intercept is, always the y value is going to be 0. Is everyone okay with this?
Like, how to know, like, from question that you're looking for, like, we have to look for x-intercept in this question?
Well, the question was exactly told you graph this by determining the intercepts.
Yeah, like, how do you know, like, it's x-intercept?
You have to find both x and y. You need 2 points to graph a line.
The way the questions are in this 2x plus y, we know the value. If we're looking for 2x, we know y is 0 in that case.
Because we're looking for the x-intercept.
And then you're getting the opposite one.
Yeah,
like
we're
that.
gonna have to find the y-intercept after this.
And that would be x would be 0. I mean,
Yes,
yeah.
in the y-intercept,
Right.
yes. Now, if I want to isolate for x, I have to get rid of that 2. This is a division, bringing it over, it has to become this is a multiplication, bringing it over, it has to become a division, because the opposite of multiplication is dividing. So this tells me that my x-intercept is 3, 0. Are we okay with this?
You could also write it 6 divided by 2 and not put it in a fraction.
Yes, 6 divided by 2 and not put it in a fraction. What do you mean by that?
Well, you written it in a fraction, right? You could just 6 and then.
Oh yeah, you mean like this? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's the same thing. Yeah. Okay, so let's draw that. Where would that be?
That is 3 on the x-axis.
So where is the x-axis? The horizontal or the vertical?
The horizontal.
So that's x. Good. Where is the 3 on the horizontal?
That's on the right side.
This one. That's my y. That's my x-intercept, right? Good. Now, if I want to find the y-intercept, I said, what do I have to do? Plug what for what? 0 for what?
For x.
For x. Okay, so going back to my original equation, 2 times 0 plus y minus 6 equals to 0. Are we getting this so far? What just happened here? Okay. Now, 2 times 0 is
0.
0. So I have to work this. So it's going to be y minus 6 equals 0. What do I do now? bring the negative 6 over, it becomes a positive 6. So my y-intercept is 0, 6. So let me recap this. Plug in 0 for x, and I want to solve for y. 2 times 0 is 0, so I don't have to worry about this. I only have y minus 6 equals to 0 left. Brought the negative 6 over, and it becomes a positive 6 because I'm isolating for y. So my point is going to be right here. Right? Because it's a y-intercept, so 0, 6. And if I'm going to graph a line, it's going to be, oops. This is my line. I'll be right back here. This page, just give me a second. Okay.